This month, we're going to be talking about writings on elephants for young readers. This panel is going to investigate the relationship between childhood and elephants and how this translates into some spectacular children's literature. To take the conversation forward, I have with me on the panel Vinod Rishi. Vinod sir is one of the most experienced wildlife conservationists in the country. He is a founding faculty member at the Wildlife Institute of India. He is a former director of the Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy. And actually, I was quite surprised to learn this, but very few people seem to know that he's also the first director of Project Elephant, the national conservation project launched in 1992 to protect these gentle giants. So welcome, Vinod sir. Along with Vinod sir on the panel, I have Priya Krishnan. Priya has been an editor for 20 years. She enjoys traveling and music, and she works at Tulika, an independent, multilingual, award-winning children's publisher that has one of the longest and most prolific lists of titles on elephants, including the best-selling Gajapati Kulapati series. So if you have a kid at home, it's highly likely that you would have heard of this series. The moderator for today's panel, Bittu Sahgal, needs very little introduction. Bittu sir is at the forefront of environmental writing in India. Back in the 1980s, when very few people were thinking of writing on issues of environment and ecology, he launched Sanctuary Asia and Sanctuary Cub. And a legion of conservationists in the country today owe their inspiration to join the field back to these magazines. So I suppose there is no better testimony of the power of literature in inspiring conservation in any country. Recently, Sanctuary Asia celebrated its 40th anniversary, and a huge congratulations from our side to the team there. Before I hand over the formalities of this panel to Bittu sir, there is a short AV we would like to play for you. It is with some of our young members talking about why they like elephants and some of their favorite elephant books. So, let's just dive in. If the audio is slightly sort of comprehensible, please forgive us. Can we have the AV, please, Ganesh?
I love elephants. Even though that they're humongous and you'd expect them to be scary, they're not scary at all. Instead, they're the most adorable creatures in the jungle. They're also very sharp-minded. They have a very great mind and they'll never forget anything. So if you do good for them, they'll do good back. And I also love how efficient they are with their trunk. They can do multiple things with their trunk, like bathe themselves or pick up objects. I also wish that I could be like them and play in the mud and play in the water all day long.
I like elephants because they're so sweet and they're very pretty. They have a nice grey silver color. And they live in the forest where I like all the animals over there. But the elephant is prettier than all the other animals. The favorite book of my elephant book is Gajapati Kulapati. I like that book because he gets a warm house. I love elephants because they are very interesting animals and they love playing in the water like me. They have a long and amazing tongue that does very nice things. My favorite elephant book is called Mahagiri, and the elephant Mahagiri is very sensitive to all living beings. But some living beings, but human beings aren't so sensitive to it. To Mahagiri.
I like elephants because they're giant but gentle, they're huge but humble, and lazy and loud just like me. My favorite elephant book is Gajapati Kulapati.
Was audible to everyone?
Excellent. Excellent.
On that happy note, without much ado, sir, I'll hand over the panel to you.
So here we are, from the mouths of children, we hear their pure and simple love of elephants. And I think that Priya and Vinod, you know that Every time a child is born, that child is born a wild animal. It's we who take the wildness out of that child as they grow up. And elephants, my word, I'd like to actually ask you, Vinod, that your life, you made Project Elephant real. And I remember sitting down in the Ministry of Environment one day and talking with Vinod, and Vinod said to me, the elephants are the bulldozers of the forest. As they walk, they clear paths, and behind them in the paths, not as they walk, but the paths are the ones that allow other animals to migrate, and therefore they don't overeat their resources. Nature has made everything so perfect, so absolutely ready, and children know this, but the Buddha party doesn't know this. The Bacha party knows this. So Vinod, tell me about your experiences with elephants and children. And you are
Okay.
half a child yourself, I know.
I'll tell you something which I have never told you earlier.
Yes.
When all these children were talking about why they love the elephants, it took me back to my childhood. I was 6 years old at that time. And my father was working in the railways.
Yes.
Now, he used to go to the railway platform by walking across a set of railway lines from our house, which was on this side of the railway yard. That day, we were just standing at the edge of the road that ran just parallel to the yard. And we were about to cross that road when what I saw on the left was a huge elephant walking up the road. It was a tame elephant. And, from a child's perspective, this my father was too tall for me. I was so little. I used to look up at his face. I had to bend my head, But the elephant still towered above him. So it was a huge thing for me. And I was looking at it in a very wondering way. This elephant was actually at that time being taken to somebody's marriage festival for and well decorated. It was on its way to some marriage ceremony. The elephant simply walked close by without breaking the stride. It cocked its eye, extended its trunk, shuffled my head, and then the hair on my head is and went away. Now you tell me, Bittu, how can I not love elephants?
Absolutely. I can understand. Everybody has a elephant story to tell, but Priya, look at you. I think you love children. I have to toss up. You like children more or elephants more, or children are elephants, or are elephants like children?
I think I can't say elephants are like children because I don't know enough about elephants, but yeah, children tend to love elephants and going by a whole history of children's literature, and when you look at mythology or folk tales, they've always been a part of children's literature, right? You take even mythology, you take Airavata, Indra's elephant. And the interesting thing I heard or read was that they are also symbols of fertility and rain. Because when you see Airavata symbolized, Indra is riding on him across the clouds, and they run into this dark band of clouds that's black and resembles a herd of elephants. And then Indra strikes his thunderbolts, and being the god of the sky, and then the sky is let loose and the rain comes down. So that's terrific symbolism, and relates the elephants to rain and the environment and all of that. With regard to us, children have just taken to it. We've published books, not consciously trying to write in an elephant. We've been lucky to have gotten manuscripts that have worked, and they have various elephants as characters. And the other interesting thing I like to point out is that we have about 31 books that cover conservation, wildlife, sustainability. And we have just an equal number of books on elephants. And I did this count in preparation for this session. And I was pleasantly amazed that we had lined up so many books on elephants. It was amazing. So, yeah.
So Priya, I hear you speak about elephants, and I can tell you Cub magazine has been around now for 30 plus years, and many of the children we started with are now so grown up. Some of them are actually running elephant protection programs, and they're running campaigns, and they're running this. I just want to know that, we have in our audience, do we have only children, by the way, or do we have children's parents as well? I have a question to ask adults.
I think we have a mixed panel, sir. So
Okay.
there are some children and there are their parents as well.
Lovely. I see Katie Bagli there, for instance. I mean, Katie Bagli, sometimes I think she only looks, half my age. Actually, she's about 7 or 10 years old in her head. She's a little delightful, beautiful lady who loves elephants, loves animals, loves children. But look, the question that I want to know is that with all the problems that are going on today, do we adults have the right to burden the children with the children are our future, they will protect and things like this? My daughter now edits Cub magazine, and it's such a thing. Elephants grace our covers. Every once in a while, there's an elephant on the cover, and we say, "Oh, but we only did that here, just the issue before last. But we love this picture. Can we please put it again, either an elephant or a tiger?" So I'm asking you, the elephant is actually the bulldozer of the forest. The elephant is जो हम कहते हैं जंगल के माली हैं. Regarding the tiger, we say that the tiger is पट्टेदार पानी का देवता, the striped water god. But if there is any animal that has something to do with water, it's the elephant. I think if you see an adult elephant who's 65 years old and you give him a little water, am I right, Vinod? I mean, there's nothing you can do to keep that elephant away from water and from play.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely correct on every point you have just made. The elephant is much more than what we visualize on our own part. What I saw all through my life while working in North Bengal and other areas, elephants they're an enigma for us. We find that we cannot understand them because we think that we understand them. It's not because we know anything about them. They're so good. There have been cases in which an elephant herd had attacked a particular area, passed through, say, the line of huts, demolished a hut, and there was a little baby, human baby, in a sling, makeshift sling. The elephant withdrew immediately.
Really? Wow.
Really. And there are too many examples that I have got where I am stunned at what goes in the mind of an elephant. And it explains a lot to me why people in North Bengal call an elephant Mahakal Baba.
Mm.
I came across situations where people, after having killed a person, after we had the people, after an elephant had killed a person and we had paid the compensation, and then they came back, "Sir, the elephant was right. This man was a rogue."
Mm.
See, the situation on the ground and situation as shown by the media persons, it makes there's so much of difference that no one is getting the correct picture about the elephants. I became the first director of Project Elephant when I was offered the post of the director Project Tiger. And I opted for the elephant because Tiger had a lot of people to support it, and there was nobody to support the elephants. It was only that childhood love for the elephant that made me do this kind of a thing. The situations are such. Just about a couple of days ago, I asked my my nephew, my grandson, who was here with me, what do you think should you have in the literature that you read? You are all the time spending your time on gaming. So why do you do that? Why don't you read books? There are so many books I have got. You can easily read them. He said, yes, I will, but I said, what do you mean by but? Then he explained. He said, what I see in the books is either too dry for me. I don't get inspired by those books, or whatever I get about elephants in children's literature, I feel that there needs to be some approach where people at my age are not treated as children. Think about it.
Yes.
He said, I am growing up, and if I am going to read that kind, either the thing that is good for adults or for little babies, then I don't feel inspired. I thought he had really pointed out a way forward for us. We need that kind of a thing which educates them while entertaining them. Now, this is, I felt that when you started the Tigers, Bittu, it is that generation which has grown up now, like you said, and they are doing wonders in the field. The same thing has happened with my children. They grew up with me and they are crusaders in their own simple rights. Now, this is where the elephant is missing now. So I think Priya might not mind my saying so, but this is what my grandson said I am looking for.
So, how old is your grandson?
11 years.
Okay, so he should look at, I mean, I'm not pushing Tulika books, but he should look at a wide variety of books that are now available. But I can only speak from my experience. And I'd like to just, if Mrs. Sahgal, if I can just talk a little bit about how we approach these books. As I said, we don't go looking, we don't really write in a story with an elephant just to make it work. It's just so happened we've got some good manuscripts. And out of these, we have, I'll approach it slightly differently. There are sort of three categories of books. We do mostly picture books, and we have three books called Hatibai, which comes from the Gujarati rhyme, which just introduces kids to the form of the elephant, you know, the large ears, the long trunk, the huge body. So it's interesting ways. This is for 3+. The age group is very little. So Tulika has a wide variety of books that makes this early engagement with elephants possible. So we have that. And then we have Budabim, which is again another book that explores the shape of the elephant. So it goes along this way. And then when you come to 4 and 5, we have this Gajapati Kulapati series, which is about an elephant, and the author first came up with the story of this elephant with a long, obviously with the trunk that catches a cold. So it's this early, and elephants apparently, from what I've read, do catch colds, and they of course let out elephantine sneezes at the end of it. So the story plays on this. Now, as that series evolved, I don't know whether it was conscious part on Ashok too, to do this, but he approached, now the second story went with, it was called Gajapati Kulapati Kalabalush. So the elephant's fondness for water and plunging into, you know, the nearest pond available, and then taking all the kids into it with him. So again, the elephant's fondness. So he was able to relate this beautifully, to create the story and then relate it to the characteristics or the traits or the habits of the elephant. Then the third book got into tummy troubles. So the elephant eating almost 10% of its body weight, and therefore, you know, eating too much and having tummy troubles. And the fourth one was about the elephant wanting to roll in the mud. So again, protective for its skin, apparently. So in a very subtle and beautiful way, he's been able to make this link to children, and also childhood woes, because children go through the exact same things. They catch colds, they have tummy troubles, you know, and then they love to play in the mud. So all of this. So in essence, it's about childhood, and it's also about elephants. So he makes that link brilliantly in this series. So I'm saying there are very innovatively done books, and I think this is one of our most popular series. So if kids can get access to books like this, and we've also done one called Lai Lai, which is Shekhar Dattatri. He's I'm sure you've heard of him, a wildlife photographer, and yeah. So this traces just through photographs and simple narrative. You know, an elephant calf wanting to wander away and the mother being protective about it. It's just one single line per page, but beautiful photographs, you know, from the southern forests, and he's able to bring that across to a child. sort of just almost like a day in the life of an
Lovely.
elephant calf. Yeah.
Bittu,
Yes.
I have read both Gajapati, Kulapati, and Banana Tales also. And I'm not criticizing those books.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying the message I got from my grandson was that he thought, he saw those and read them because I made him do that. He said, it is not telling me truly about the elephant. Because he has been moving with me, he has gone to the forest, and when I told him something about the elephant, his children are very curious. Why the elephant is doing that? Why the elephant is moving like that? Why it is moving in such a ponderous manner? Now, it is easy for me to explain to him because it's one-to-one, face-to-face. But that's not possible when the books are there. Books, I agree. I agree that what we have got with from the Tulika publication is a huge treasure, but it is for a particular uh,
Yes.
group.
Yes, it's a particular age group. Yes.
Age group. And what I was trying to say was that maybe the way that today's younger generation is building up and spending most of their time on either the Android or their games, they need to be weaned out. And they weaned out towards reading books. We may produce anything, but unless a child reads such a book, it doesn't get influenced. Now, Bittu knows about it, but Priya, allow me to share it with you.
Sure.
I was educated as an engineer in IIT Delhi. I had a huge scope in front of me, like my colleagues, and that was long back in 1968, that there was no dearth of any suitable employment for an engineer from an IIT Delhi. My father wanted me to remain an engineer, but I chose, I was to become the first IITian, a forest officer, because I loved forest. And why did I love it? I was initiated by the books that I read during my school days at Delhi Public Library. And these were about the real-time adventures in shivaliks. And that imagination that went through my mind at that time, the scenes that the book conjured up in my mind, they caught me in such a manner that I couldn't escape. My hint is only that we have got a big area to cover. And this area, because of the changing times, needs to be addressed to, because our visitors to the national parks do not know how to behave.
Yeah.
And that is where it pinches. That if the elephant is trying to, a bull is trying to protect its herd from any disturbance while the herd is crossing a road, and there are little calves in this herd, people, the tourists, the visitors, they shout like anything. And this is carrying a very wrong kind of message through our media, our electronic media, and so on. I think, Priya, people like you have the vision to handle it. I have seen those books you referred to, and Bittu has the experience of how to do it with the children. I don't have this thing in my with me, but I think, I feel that this is one way that perhaps we can, it's always the lady of the house who tells the gent what is to be done and what is not to be done. And the gent has to accept that. Similarly, the children are the ones who tell their mama what is to be done. So it is a chain. That chain goes up and up. And then we get the future conservationists among them.
No, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Vinod, the thing is that I see so many wonderful people in the audience, and I can tell you this, that for me, as a child, the first elephant I saw was in a zoo. And I was asked to go and sit on the elephant, which I did. I must have been 8 or 9 years old. And something in my heart broke, that such a huge animal, why should such a small, insignificant animal like a human being hit it, move it, etc.? That there was something in me that changed as a child. What I feel is, at this moment in time, that children, it's one thing for us to say, like I always say this, elephants are the bulldozers of the forest. They allow people, other animals to migrate from place to place. They create corridors for other animals. And without elephants, the habitat would not be looked after. I understand that. I understand the use of all the animals and what they do. But, you know, Priya, if you were to ask me what my purpose in life is, yes, I want to leave a better world for my children, but these children, I need to leave better children for my world than we were. And that is something that can be told. The elephant is the most lovable. If you see a herd of elephants, I've seen a herd of elephants in the Corbett National Park, towering skyscrapers of legs, and this tiny mouse-like almost creature, not mouse-like, but you know what I mean, small baby, if it goes slightly, tuck, it's pushed here, tuck, it's pushed there, and it's kept in the middle, and dare anybody come close to it. I've even seen tigers following them, thinking ki bhai, by chance, if that little elephant goes somewhere, I might get lunch. You should see the kind of noise that the elephants make. The elephants care for their children. The elephants have never in the history of life on earth ever destroyed their own forest. People think that they do. So when we talk to kids through Cub magazine, what we tell them in a simple way is that there is no animal on earth, including the elephant, that has the technology to destroy or waste or create waste. And of course, the most interesting thing that I found with children, we go and talk to so many children across the school. We have a small lecture that says, shit makes the world go round. And the teachers often say, Katie, you wouldn't say that, but many teachers say, can you say poop? I said, no, shit makes the world go round. When you have a huge dropping of an elephant, I say to you that instead of waiting near a water hole, just wait near that big dropping. And you see what all comes. The birds will come, the beetles will come, the this will come, the deer will come, the wild boar will look around. Everything in nature goes around and round and round. And if you see them with a little calf, I tell you, those little animals, the way they move, when they are, Vinod, I'm treading on your territory, but when there's a little elephant calf, it doesn't know what to do with its trunk. It's moving around. It loves to play with it. लेकिन उसको पता नहीं चलता मैं इसके साथ क्या करूँ इसके साथ, you know. Then slowly it learns, and it learns, and it learns at the feet of its parents or of its friends. And the elephants, they have aunts, they have families, they have feelings. And I tell children that, do you know that the elephants can hear through their feet? Their padded feet are such that they can pick up vibrations far away. And from their stomachs, they can produce, like if you're very hungry, your stomach will go gudu, 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 gudu. But the elephants have subsonic sounds. They can communicate up to 5, 8, 9 kilometers away, like whales do communicate in their own way. There's so much we need to know. And we're going off track slightly, but I would really hope that those who produce books and magazines like us, and those who now are on social media, I hope that they gift the children the joy of discovery, the knowledge that nature is your friend, not your enemy. The idea that don't take an elephant and put it down and imprison it. The elephant was born free. It was meant to be free. It should stay free. And I'm very certain that the kids that we take around now, they actually say that, look, we don't want to go and see an elephant tied up, you know, because it breaks their heart. And if you leave the elephants free, then jahan elephant ka jungle ho, wahan aap dekho, wahan tiger bhi जी पाएगा, वहां डुक्कर भी जी पाएगा, वहां सांबर भी जी पाएगा. और बंदर तो बहुत मजे करते हैं, वो ऊपर से डंप करते हैं, तो सिर्फ चीतल नहीं खाते. Even the elephant will be very happy from the highest branch if fruit falls down. So yeah, tell us
No, to your point, sorry if I can interrupt. No, just to say that, from the point of view of Tulika and us as publishers, all we can do is do enough books with, varied stories, like I've mentioned, presenting various facets of the elephant to get kids to engage early enough with them. So say even from 3, 4, 5, that's why we have to do the stories we are doing, because we are not, I think, unless we get such a good manuscript, which is so informative, and for older kids, it's hard to produce a book like that without having the know-how to do it, and good writing to back it up. So we need, really experts to do those things. And now with the internet, we're competing also with that, right? We're competing with available information all over the place. So we are right now focusing on younger age groups, getting them familiar with this. And in relation to that, we have these, Mr. Vinod would be happy to know, we have this book called Bumoni's Banana Trees. So it's the same concept of these elephants coming and, running through different people's banana groves and messing it up. And then this little kid comes up with the idea that she's heard in the Digboy refinery how they planted citronella grass. And so then, to keep the elephants away. But at the same time, then she decides, let's do that here. But then we create patches of bananas, etc., where the elephants are, and then that works out beautifully. So it is bringing in a sort of a child role model and trying to see that, what can a child do also in terms of ideas to see that the elephants thrive wherever they are, rather than come and wreck people's banana plantations. So we have books like this, or The Magnificent Makhna is another book that we have. I'm quoting individual titles to show you the various issues we're also dealing with through these books. So they might look like stories, but they're also talking about an elephant that's, so revered because it keeps poachers out of the forest. It's a true story set in the Western Ghats. Actually, journalist Arvind Krishnabala wrote that story. And then people really revere that elephant. And then one fine day, I think the forest authorities want to hunt it down. And the story is about what happens. So again, these are conservation issues, sustainability issues. So I think all we can do is just try to present all of that to kids in a very reader-friendly manner. And hopefully it clicks with some of them.
Yeah, you are already doing it.
No, we're still trying.
No. This is because I myself read those stories.
Yeah.
So I felt that you are the people who can do it, not anybody else. This is my personal feeling about it.
That's very sweet of you. We'll definitely keep trying.
This is the reason I opened up about the next generation. Otherwise, I mean, this is okay. This is good to initiate. This is kind of an initiation at a younger age. But after initiation, we are having a gap.
Yeah.
This is where I think, because you're a visionary, and that's why Tulika has done it. And Bittu is, I don't have words for him. He is an icon.
Yeah.
For the children, for me also. In front of him, I become a child. He starts explaining the things. He is explaining the things which both of us know, but the way he does it, I cannot. So somebody has to take up this kind of a thing. That, okay, expand. Let us expand. Let us see people coming up with whatever they have learned through the books, through small the magazines and the activities of Sanctuary and other similar conservationist people.
Very happy. We have got so many children here. There's Rithun, there's Vihan, they're asking questions, so many things. I mean, I would be so happy to hear that from the children. What do they think about an elephant? Have they ever seen one in the wild?
So many hands being raised. Yeah,
yes. So I think we can probably hop into taking some questions.
Yes.
In fact, there is a question that has come in right at the beginning from Kalpana Singh at Parikrama Foundation. And she's asking, why don't we include real life emotional stories about elephant in our textbooks so that a larger number of children can be reached? Now, I just like to slightly modify that question because I'm not sure. I mean, but really, I mean, is it a problem that our school curriculum isn't emphasizing enough on this animal? If maybe Priya or Bittu sir, if you want to take on that question, and then we'll move to the others.
Priya?
I mean, I don't know the current syllabus right now, Megha, but I remember even well into my school years, environmental studies happened much later than it should have. But it did come in. But then we were reading, like Mr. Rishi said, we were reading dry stuff. We weren't given enough interesting things about the environment, animals, wildlife. So it was basically, you know, very, very dry stuff around what you can do in your city, or very uninspiring stuff as part of the core syllabus. So now I think what is happening is some like NCERT and other people have taken some of Tulika books as supplementary readers. I'm not so sure whether they've done enough relating to books on wildlife or books on elephants, or but there is that move to try to incorporate books from outside as part of the curriculum, which is a healthy thing. Because what is not your core competence, at least you're then saying, let me outsource it and get good books from outside and include it as part of the curriculum.
That's true. That's true. I mean, there are no easy answers for this. We're going to try and get, okay. So there is another question. Bittu sir, can you see the questions from the children? I think some of them would be quite excited to have you ask their questions.
Of course, but I'm looking for the question. Can you tell me which kid? Like I'm going up and down and up and down and up and down at the moment. Wait.
There
Good
is
to have you. Hafsa is 6 years old, but Hafsa never asked any questions. And
there's Aishi.
Benedict Parmanand is a little too old to be called a kid. But Benedict, if you want to ask a question, you can ask. I can tell you, everybody is allowed to ask a question. No. Listen.
But there is a question from Aishi, and she's asking, how are elephants able to remember things very nicely?
Oh, my word, my word. If they don't remember things, they will be finished. You know what? The first thing that they'll remember is where is the food, because they eat so much khana every single day. And when they go into a forest, they eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and all the fruit is finished. Some of the leaves are finished. They go on to branches and things. And when the rain stops and the place gets slightly dry, then Vinod will tell you very clearly that they will have to walk sometimes 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. Now, how do they walk? They walk from here, they go there, they know, oh, after we walk for so long, the mother will know there is some water over there in a small place, we can find some water. Oh, at this particular time, they know, I don't know how, they don't have calendars and watches and all these kind of smartphones, but they know where is the food, where is the water, where is the danger. This river, how can I pass it in such a way that my baby is also safe? Elephants have good memories because elephants need to have those good memories to live, to survive. And they are living with the most dangerous animal in the whole wide world. Elephants live, and elephants and tigers and pythons and king cobras and all these animals live with the most dangerous animal in the world. Who is that?
Human beings.
Human beings, the most dangerous animals. Mere ghar mein aake, if somebody breaks my house down, I won't be happy. But when we go to the elephant, then we break their house down. Yeah. We cut their trees off. We take their food away. We do things. We make a big wall. The babies can't go over. So elephants have to have a good memory in order to survive. And yes, I know for a fact, when I was a kid, I used to see this movie called Dumbo, the elephant that can fly. But the fact is that what I loved most about the stories was that when somebody was mean to an elephant in a circus or a zoo, poking it and things, the next time that person came by, the elephant did picked up water and went threw it on the person, as though to say, you think that you can poke me? Well, I can give you a bath with my spit and my water, and you don't do that again, you know. So children want stories. Children want stories. And just looking at an elephant, looking at elephant calves and looking at elephant herds, a certain love comes out. And I think that Tulika is doing this through books. Vinod has done this through the protection of the forests in which elephants can be elephants instead of having to become the servants of human beings. Cub magazine, I can tell you this, that from our perspective, by the way, I mean, I must tell you this, Megha, that anybody who is on this, At no charge for 1 full year, we will give you a digital subscription to Cub Magazine and Sanctuary. Just because you're here and just because you came for elephants.
That's lovely.
And this is for parents. And I'll tell you a secret. Parents, I'm so sorry. I'm being a little sneaky, you know, because most parents are so busy. They're doing this, they're doing that, looking after kids, making sandwiches, sending them to school, doing this. The father's going out, doing some work. So you don't have time to think that what will my child do when my child is 40 years old? So what we do with the magazine is that we go to the children, we tell them these little stories, like Tulika is doing, we tell them little stories, and those stories we tell them, go and tell your parents. So here is the elephant. We talk to them about Ganesh and we say, all right, we wrote one story called The Terrible Toothache. That the elephants need their teeth more than you. Suppose somebody came with the pliers and started pulling out your teeth. You don't like to go to the dentist even when you have an injection. So basically, it's like this. I think that we adults need to become a little more childlike, and we need to look at our children as though they are the adults of the future.
Yep.
And we need to know that the elephant is the maintenance engineer of the forest. Without the elephant, without the bee, without the bird, without the crocodile, without the snake, without the rat, can I carry on? The whole thing will be over. There's not a single creature in the world that doesn't have some very special use. And the elephant is as dependent upon the small little shrew in the forest as the shrew is dependent upon the elephant in the forest. And this beautiful relationship is what I would love to have stories told on. Not just stories that this is the elephant, it has 4 legs, it has 1 tail, it has a snout, it has pat ears. No, that's wonderful to do all that. But what is the purpose of the elephant? What does it do? How does it live? No elephant child has ever gone to school, and yet it's so smart. I wish that I was also an elephant sometime. No homework bhi nahi hai, kuch bhi nahi hai, just go. Katie, do you agree with me?
I am just trying to see if we have the raise hands feature, so some of our audience members can actually.
Yes, they should have. They should have.
I have a quick question. Is it a misconception to call the elephant gentle? Is it a gentle animal? I mean, is that because you often hear gentle giant, elephants are gentle.
You know, Priya, you are a gentle person. You are a very gentle person, but I promise you this, that if somebody came and tried to hurt a child of yours, or your mother, or your father, you would not be gentle.
True.
The elephants don't like our smell. They don't like our sounds. They think that we are junglis. We don't know how to behave. So they would much rather stay away from us. लेकिन हम उनके घर में घुस जाते हैं. So they become, so to speak, they are gentle giants. If you watch them, they spend their life either eating or drinking or sleeping or leaning against something quietly. That's what they do. They've done it for so many years, long before human beings had even come on earth.
Yep.
So we need to understand them more. And really, Vinod, I think you'll agree with me as the first director of Project Elephant. If we leave no space for the elephants to live, nature will leave no space for us to survive.
You have said everything, and I cannot dispute because I am with you on that. In addition to that, when the Project Elephant was launched, there was a saying, can you imagine India without elephants? It is printed on that book. Can you imagine India without elephant? India is recognized, and the elephant kind of symbolizes India now regarding the gentleness.
That's true.
I agree with what you're saying about the gentle giant. If somebody unknown person enters into our home, what do we do? We try to push him out, right? Try to tell him that you please leave us, unless you have something to say. What the elephant does, throughout my life, I have seen they tolerate us. This is something that we have not learned. The elephant tolerates our presence, and like you said, unless they feel threatened, they do not retaliate. I have been very close to the elephant, wild elephants, tigers also, who have just left me just because they thought that I am harmless. So when I talk about, say, elephants being gentle giants, they are giants undoubtedly, and they are gentle only because they tolerate us,
Quite right.
despite our bad habits.
So Aishi wants to know that can an elephant fight with a lion? Aishi, I'll tell you this, I do not know any lion so stupid as to try and fight with an elephant. It will go far away. But the jungle is a place where love, affection and all that is one thing. If an elephant is in trouble, if that elephant is wounded, if the elephant can't walk, then 10 lions may come after it in Africa. Of course, in India, lions and elephants don't live in the same place, but it is entirely possible that elephants might be attacked by a pride of lions, but they are not the prey of lions. Lions would rather eat a monkey from here, a deer from here, or something, an antelope or something like this. And how do elephants and humans bond? The question was asked by Vihan. How do elephants and humans bond so easily? What is the connection? Well, I think, Vinod, you have answered that question. They don't really bond with us. They just tolerate us. And sometimes I don't like the way elephants are treated, you know. They are hit, they are beaten, they are starved, they are poked, they are chained. It breaks my heart. Personally, I'm speaking for myself. I would rather see myself in chains than to see an elephant, the great, huge beast, which helped to... By the way, Vinod, I don't think you knew this. Elephants and bats were the ones that took mangoes from one side of India and transplanted them elsewhere, because they eat mangoes and mangoes and mangoes, and sometimes they don't spit the seed out. The seed comes out from the other end of the elephant. And with the best fertilizer in the world, pop, up comes a mango tree. And in that mango tree, there are 1,000 more mangoes. So nature produces enough food, and the elephant is a food factory for not only its own young, also for monkeys, also for other animals. But Megha, where are we going? Are we running over time? Are we okay? Are there more questions that? And I would really like Priya to tell us something. Tell us a little story about one of the elephants in your book.
Oh my gosh, I'm a bad storyteller. Megha, do the honors.
Okay, listen. Let me take you off the hook over there.
I'm an editor, not a storyteller.
Okay. There's a question here, sir. Will an elephant talk to another? Yes, they talk, but just the same way as if I'm a Greek person and I say, well, you will not understand what I'm saying. The same way, when an elephant talks, another elephant may understand, but you don't understand. They have signals. Those signals are not only verbal, they are also from smell, they are from touch, they are from taste. There's so many ways. The language of nature is absolutely magical. It is magical. It is just magic. It's like Harry Potter. Somehow or the other, they go inside there and they know everything about everything. And those tummy rumbles are the most important thing of all, you know. And if you hear them, my God, they can call their young ones from 200 meters away. Come here. You know, so they talk to each other. Yes. Megha, you were saying?
I was saying, sir, there is Rithun.
Yes.
Who says, I want to say something.
Yes.
So I'll just have him on stage. So
please, he says we must save the elephants, and tell him that when he becomes Prime Minister, I will help him to save the elephants.
So Ganesh, can we have Rithun on stage? I hope I'm getting your name right, Rithun. But the panel we don't have a lot of time, but please do share what you have to share. So Ganesh, we can bring Rithun on stage.
I think he's on stage. He should switch on his video.
Okay. Rithun, can you switch on your video and switch off your mute?
But how old is Rithun? He can do all that.
That is a mystery.
Ah,
okay.
no, Rithun, I can see he can teach me a thing or two. Yes, Rithun, go ahead.
Ma'am, I'm 5th B. My years is 12. Ma'am, I'm 12 years, ma'am.
Wonderful. Go ahead and ask your question, Rithun. Or tell us your story. What?
In the textbook, of Mount Literacy School, I saw a story about the elephant, sir. Just wanted to share it.
Ah, yes. So are you going to tell us the story about it, or you?
I will tell the story about it, sir.
Okay, I think Megha will say, yes, tell us, but tell us quickly.
Yes. Tell us, Rithun, since I think Sir asked and all of us failed, probably you can tell us the story. But yes, it is it's 6 o'clock now. So please tell us in the interest of time, Rithun. But please do tell us your
Go
story.
ahead, Rithun.
Ma'am, one day there was an elephant. His name was something, sir. I don't remember it because I studied it in 3rd standard. I'm 5th standard. So I
Okay.
don't remember it clearly, but I will try, sir. There was a group of elephants, and one was a kid of mother, sir. One day, they were all on the morning were walking and going, and in the morning they played in the water, sir. The young elephant didn't come to the older elephants because he thought they would push him, sir.
Oh.
And so he didn't play with even his cousins, and he sat quietly near his mother. His mother pushed him, saying, "You go and play." But he was afraid, he didn't play, sir. After some time, they started their journey and reached the forest, sir, after traveling 100 miles. They reached the forest and ate the leaves. They ate the leaves, branches, the bark of trees. I asked the question, sir, what is the nutrition in the bark of trees, sir? Did you see it?
What is the nutrition in the bark of trees? Oh my word. Vinod, you want to go into the process of how bacteria in the stomach of the elephant can work on the lignin, and they can work on cellulose and turn some kind of thing and whatnot? It's a very big question you've asked, my beta, but I'd put it like this. Elephants, actually, what they would like to eat is mangoes. They would like to eat nice, sweet, soft fruit. But if it's not there, they will eat branches, they will eat leaves, they will eat anything that they can eat, because their stomachs are not as small as ours. Their stomachs are so big. So they will eat whatever.
In the story, they will eat 200 kilograms of leaves, sir.
Correct. And you don't try to eat 200 kilograms of leaf, huh? Whatever you do. Otherwise, you'll be in very big trouble.
I will not eat leaves.
There is one other question that was asked, Megha. I think that question needs to be answered. Do you think elephants, this is from Raghavan Balaji. He said, do you think elephants allow themselves to be tamed? If not, why don't they protest? I can tell you something. Elephants do not like to be tamed. Elephants do not like to be made to dance in circuses. Elephants do not like to be put in chains and carry people around like this. Elephants want to go out and play, just like you children may not want to do homework now. I can tell you that chaining an elephant is not like doing homework. It is like making them do homework and beating them at the same time. I don't like that. I don't like that. I want elephants to be free, and the elephants can't be free, and the elephants can't do anything unless we give them jungles to beat. By the way, I know the time is short, but I want to ask you one thing. Look, little Rithun, not so little Rithun, wouldn't you like to live in a magic home? Just imagine, the doors are made of chocolate. The windows are all made of lollipop. You open the tap and you get some mishra. You can't hear. I said, would you like to live in a magic home where the doors are made of chocolate? You open the tap, you get lemonade. You just look at any kind of window pane, you will like that, it's lollipop, and all the stones are sweets. And then when you go to sleep, all that you ate, it comes back again. It's a magic home. Now, if somebody comes to you and says, I want to destroy your magic home, you'll say, no, I won't let you do it. But every
Sir.
elephant has a magic home.
Sir.
Every bandar has a magic home. He lives in the tree.
Come
He
on,
lives
Baba.
in the tree. Oh, you can't hear Mithun. Something is wrong with
Sir.
your volume. Yes. Tell me, Mithun. Mithun.
Sir, I wouldn't be so greedy to live in a magic room, magic house, sir. I love my house. I will stay in that.
Lovely, but that now you come to the real point. See, I would like him to say this in Parliament because you want to stay in your home, and I promise you, if the elephant could speak, he would say, I want to stay in my home. You don't come to my home, I don't come to your home. I will make the forest wonderful, and my forest will give you water, and my forest will solve all your climate problems and everything else. We need so badly, Priya, to teach the children to love, to respect, to trust nature. And that
Sir.
is, yes, go on. Yeah.
Sir, shall I continue the story?
He's yours now.
Sorry, Ritan, darling, ask what you have to, but we'll have to, maybe also take other questions. So tell us what you have to, then we should ask some of the other.
She says she knows a nice story. I'm waiting
Sir.
to see.
Mom, I didn't finish the story.
Yes, carry on.
So tell us what happens in the end, no, to that elephant who's not talking to anyone and he's wanting to his
He
mama.
ate all the leaves and was going, ma'am. In the evening, he joined with the group and went for a long distance for going. In the night, he camped in a place where there was shade of trees, ma'am, the big trees.
What happened?
I can't remember it clearly because as you said,
because you're not an elephant. That's why you can't remember. If you were an elephant, you would have remembered everything.
Okay. So
Okay,
I
good.
think, Ritan, there are lots of other children also now saying that we really like Ritun's story, but we also have stories to share. And I think we are going to get them to share with their stories with us at the Greenlitfest. Maybe
ma'am, 1 minute.
Okay.
Ma'am, why not to keep talking, ma'am? Why to end the session at 6 o'clock? I am asking. Why not 7 o'clock?
Aww.
That is what every child says when he goes to the garden to play. The mommy, I want only from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Then she says, you have to eat your food, you have to do this, you have to do that. What to do now? Listen, Ritun, even elephant will tell its child, enough now, you played in the water, come out now. And if it doesn't come out, you know what it does? It takes its head and bumps its bum and says, out, come on out. And they listen. No, but there are many people are asking that we thought that elephants use their trunks as hands, but for them it's a nose and they can't smell when they use it as a hand. I think they can smell when they use it as a hand. What do you think, Vinod? If an elephant picks up a mango or a banana or any fruit, it can smell it. No, if it doesn't smell it, how will it know it's edible?
Bittu, it does smell. It can scent everything, and they might have seen an elephant with its trunk raised up high in the air. That's only to catch the scent of the danger that is around them. And it's quite good. Very, it has a very strong sense of smell.
Correct.
So it does use the trunk. There is something called Jacobson's organ.
You're gone on mute by mistake. You've gone on mute.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how it happened. I didn't even touch it. So, this is something called Jacobson's organ in the mouth of the elephant, and it is through that the pheromones and what makes the chemicals in the scent, they are recognized and the signals go to their brain.
By the way, I tell you something, Priya and Vinod, some very interesting questions have come. Sir, can elephant eat chocolate? I would say, please don't feed elephants chocolate. Please don't, please don't, please don't. I'm asking you 10 times. Please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't make elephants eat chocolates. Many times, some of the things that we like very much, like if you give certain foods to cats, if a cat gets fever and you give it crocin, it can die. They may not have the enzymes to digest that. It becomes a poison for them. And please just never feed a wild animal. A wild animal is meant to be wild. It is not your pet. Leave it alone and it will respect you. I don't know now, Megha, you better take charge. I think that I could carry on with the children till tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
I think they'd all want you to carry on because they clearly don't want this panel to end at 6:30. We can all be sitting here happily till tomorrow talking about elephants. And I think we'll be quite happy, except for everybody has...
No, but what is Mahalakshmi asking? Ma'am and sir, when will we write about elephants, ma'am and sir? What is... Oh, I didn't understand. When will we write about elephants? I think that's for Tulika's... that's an assignment for you. You
know, I think since it is Children's Day, so there is one particular book that Tulika published earlier this year called Uncle Nehru, Please Send Me an Elephant. So it's such an apt day to really talk of that book because we're celebrating Jawaharlal Nehru's birthday and he loved children. And there is this fascinating story of his, how children from around the world started writing letters to him, wanting him to send them an elephant because they'd never seen one. And so it began with children in Japan, and then he sent elephants to children in different parts of the world. And it's such a lovely anecdote from the Prime Minister's life and also from India's contemporary history. So I was, when you were talking about elephant stories, that was the one that was on the top of my mind because it sort of brings these two events so nicely together. Yeah, Priya, you wanted to say something.
One quick point in that story. So when the elephants are being sent, now elephants became diplomats, literally. They were trying to establish, it was an emerging India and he wanted to establish relationships with all these countries and be friendly. But then us editors, we realized that there was this one issue. Given what we know about elephants today, how social and familial they are, and they don't want to be separated from their herds. So we realized that this could be a problematic issue. So we raised it with the author and said, we had her introduce this into the text, into the narrative, whereby she says that, if Nehru knew what we know about elephants today, he wouldn't have decided to do what he did because it was very difficult for these animals to make these journeys across the seas and reach their destinations. It probably was cruel, but those days it had to be seen and read in context.
They were different days. They were different days.
Yes,
I tell you, you're right. And I think that elephants, one of the things that anybody who has seen an elephant, whether in captivity or whether otherwise, they have relationships like you love your brother, you love your sister, you depend upon your mother, you depend upon your father. Suppose somebody came to somebody's house and said, oh, I like your child very much. Can I give your child away to the Queen of England? You would say, sorry, what do you mean? Separating him from my mother? And the mother wouldn't like it. So I don't think we should treat animals as objects. And whatever happened 40, 50, 60 years ago, the children of today, I think, are growing up with different values. And I do believe that it is incumbent upon those, particularly who write for children, to not make judgments, but to lead by example, because no children don't do what you do. Children don't do what you say, they do what you do. So we need to set good examples.
And in fact, Raghavan has a very interesting point to say. He says that it would have been much nicer if the children had been invited to see the elephant in India instead of actually sending the
Raghavan, very good. I agree with you.
So, yes, I think on that note, it's a good time to there's never a good time to end an interesting conversation, but we're clearly at the end of our planned timing for this session. I would, if the panelists have any last words to say, any of...
No, just a happy future to our children, and Thank you so much for having me and represent Tulika. And thank you, Mr. Sahgal. Thank you, Mr. Rishi. It was wonderful.
Well, I would say that I must thank you because I have given many of your books away to children, and I think that Tulika is doing a fine job. As far as Vinod is concerned, I would thank him because while he was there, he was one of the most courageous forest officers I have seen. At personal cost to himself, he always put the animals that he was responsible for first. And Megha, please, I meant what I said. If any of the parents over here would like to get the digital issues, there's no cost. They just need to give you their name and they need to give you their email ID. And by magic, poof, it will be available. But I don't know about screen time and all that. I have daughters and I have grandchildren, and screen time is something that I am very scared of, with children. I don't want them to have extra screen time. But in this case, I think that on books and magazines like this,
it's worth it.
It may just be worth it. They may enjoy.
Megha, Bittu, Priya, and all the participants I have heard and I've seen responding to this talk. I have felt privileged today. This is probably the first time I've got a chance of this kind to interact with the children. I had often taken children to the field, just in the forest, to explain to them the forest. But this was something I'll cherish. This memory of this day I'll cherish. And I feel really honored to be with you, to know you now through it. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thanks to the organizers also. Thank you.
And Megha, there was one last question. They must get an answer. They said, we also eat fruit. Elephant also eats fruit. Why is the elephant so big? The secret is in the quantity they eat. Don't try to eat 200 kilos of leaves and fruit. Otherwise, not only will your mom and dad say, oh, what are you doing? You'll ruin yourself. You'll be very unhappy, get a stomachache. But eat the right things, eat good fruit, eat nice, different things. The elephants do that. They go from here, they go from there. Whatever fruit there is, they eat it. Whatever leaves there are, they can, so many things. Time to go. Okay.
And they must not eat bark.
Yeah, ideally they should not eat bark because that's the last resort when no food is left. Oh, wait, can I show you something? 1 minute.
Oh.
You know what this is? I was in the Kruger National Park and there was a drought and the elephants didn't know where to go for water and food. And they were doing exactly this. This is like an elephant, not a toothpick. It had not eaten and taken. This was what the elephant was eating. And I asked the ranger, may I take this back as a memory so that I will remember to tell my government and to tell all governments, allow the elephants the water and the space they need so that they can maintain the forest and not destroy it. If you confine the elephants, they will accelerate destruction. If you leave them alone, they will give us a wonderland. So that's right. This tree gave it fruit, and eventually, because we create climate change and we do all this, instead of eating fruit, they eat this, and they cause problems for me, for you, for everybody else. But so
that's true.
Kahani khatam.
Thank you.
There are some stories we don't, we wish it could go on. But it's been so nice. I know the conversation was on writings for elephants for young readers, but I think all the kids on the panel just had so many questions around elephants and how much they ate and whether they gave each other names. And then we had young Ritun with his story. So it's been a most enjoyable Children's Day event, I must say. And a big thank you to all our panelists and all our audience members for taking out precious time on a Sunday evening to be with us. We truly are actually, sir, sir, you shouldn't be thanking us. We should be thanking you for taking out the time and being with us, for all your wonderful, being such a repository of knowledge on elephants. And I think we should know more about all your wonderful adventures. So maybe another conversation another time. But a huge thank you to all the panelists, to all the audience members, to all the children who took out the time to be with us this Sunday evening. Bittu sir has most generously offered an online subscription of Sanctuary Cub to all the kids and the parents of the kids.
And the parents get Sanctuary. So every 2 months, they will get the magazine for the parents, and every other 2 months, they'll get it for the kids. And if the kids are 14 or 16, they can start reading the parents' magazine as well.
So if you want that, I think you can write into us at contact@Greenlitfest with your name and email, and we'll pass it on for you to get the details.
So I'm putting down the email over here. You will save the chat, so you can write to the person and you can contact them. May I write that in right here?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay.
You can put it into the chat box.
In 1 minute.
But that's like a bit of a Children's Day gift for everyone who's here with us.
Ma'am.
Sorry, Ritun, are you still with us here?
Ma'am, really, we children should thank you for this wonderful session of elephants in this Children's Day, ma'am.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you, Ritun. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, can I send my WhatsApp number to you? Will you note it?
This boy is going to become the Prime Minister, I think, for sure. 100%. Maybe Prime Minister of the whole world.
Okay, so Bittu sir has said that if you all want the magazine, you can actually write to Nishita@Sanctuary Asia. Anyway, we'll have the details for you all. And I've seen that many of you have sent in your emails, so I'm going to ensure that I save those and I have them with me so that I can pass them on to the team. The team at Sanctuary. Sorry, darling. Ritun, you'll have to just allow me to finish there. But sorry, I lost my chain.
No, don't worry. You were saying the right thing. They can send this for the magazine. They can have a wonderful time. And I want to give some homework before they go. They have to go and give their mother or their father and their sisters and their brothers a big hug and their friends and say, save nature. If you save nature, nature will save you. Over there.
Okay, but thank you so much for being with us the evening. Bye-bye to everyone.
Thank you, Megha. Bye.
Thank you so much. And please do follow us because we have some big announcements coming up in the coming days with our annual event that's just around the corner. So yes, stay tuned. We're going to be seeing you soon. And bye-bye. Have a lovely Children's Day, whatever is left of it. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bittu.